Guess this is a long way from East Point.
Baby, you just gotta give it a chance.
Tell me about your new neighbors.
They're black. Do you mind keeping it down? If you don't comply, I'll tell the manager.
Somebody's taking home security serious.
Hi, I am Karen Drexler. I'm your neighbor. You need to be taking your trash cans off the curb right when the trash is picked up.
Is she nice?
Yeah, she's nice.
Wait a minute, we have a white entitled neighbor named Karen?
Karen, okay, enjoy yourself.
There she is, slaving away in the kitchen.
Oh my God, this is...
I've come across some very suspecting teenagers.
Suspecting?
Can you please hurry up?
They're trying to suck the racism out of this.
I left my wallet with my ID at home. Leave us alone. We didn't do anything.
How the heck did you end up moving to this neighborhood? Next thing you know, we have criminals. You take care of him, and I will take care of her.
Would you mind stepping out of the car?
My office has uncovered some disturbing information on her and her brother.
She doesn't like black people.
We have a search warrant.
Well, I'm black.
I know, she doesn't like you either.
I want to sell the house.
What I do? You can't tell me, huh?
We are living next door to a racist. You went in her house?
You wouldn't want your wife to know our little secret, right?
That was not standard police procedure back there.
What do we have here?
When you got a hammer, everything looks like nails.
You people are very angry.
Shut your mouth, boy.
Bad things happen to people that don't comply.
If I had seen this trailer 20 years ago, I would have had a far different reaction than I do today. But with many people in society obsessing over skin color and racism, the Karen movie is one of those situations where I have to assume the director either didn't read the room or is intentionally fanning the flames of racial agitation. So first things first, what is a Karen? According to the Urban Dictionary, Karen is a pejorative term used in the United States and other English-speaking countries for a woman perceived as entitled or demanding beyond the scope of what is appropriate or necessary. A common stereotype is that of a white woman who uses her privilege to demand her own way at the expense of others. And it's that very last part of the definition that's the problem. The term Karen is usually recognized as something exclusive to white women, even though entitlement and, dare I say, privilege is found among all backgrounds. I'm embarrassed to admit that I've sat through many world star hip-hop videos to see black women throw tantrums over ridiculous things, but equally confused to see that none of these incidents were classified as a Karen moment. Why? What's the distinction between a white woman throwing a tantrum and a black woman throwing a tantrum? Is it just skin color? Is it just a fancy name to ridicule white women? And then the reverse, is there an exclusive and acceptable name that society should use to ridicule black women? I don't mean that you should do that, but I'm just trying to keep the logic consistent here. Or perhaps it's the act of calling the police that makes someone a Karen. Because according to the internet, white people calling the police on black people will put black people at a much higher risk for police brutality. And I'm saying it like this because I've heard this excuse before. First of all, invisible rules such as don't call the police on black people or the infamous black people can't be racist, I'd argue are direct contributors to crimes and acts of racism committed by black people. It's foolish to think that some people wouldn't take full advantage of all the excuses they have at their disposal if they knew that their skin color gave them special privileges. Yes, I said privileges. Second of all, if it's the act of calling the police on a black person that makes someone a Karen, then this should also raise extreme concern. One of the first videos I made on this channel was on the topic of critical thinking, and I specifically gave some examples relating to the viral Karen videos that we always see. So to summarize, let's break down the consequences that result from a video like that being published. Number one, we only get half the story. It's really bothersome to see how many people are quick to label a 20-second video a racist incident when the only details they have available to them is the fact that a white person called the police on a black person, or the fact that someone claimed it was an act of racism and therefore it must be true. But what happened before the cameras started rolling? And also, what did the white person say or do that could connect the video to an act of racism? Telling the 911 operator that they're reporting a black man? Well, I'm not sure how many times you've called the police, but typically you have to give a description to the dispatcher about the person you're calling for. Number 2, these videos create more problems. This is a really hard pill to swallow, so I need you to really think about this for a second. Let's say someone was legitimately racist and said some racist things to a black person in public. Someone takes a video, uploads it online, and now the entire world knows about racist Karen. You've put a giant target on that person's back because you didn't get the memo that there will always be an abundance of people that say not nice things about you. Does a viral video make the person all of a sudden not a racist? I would argue that it might make them worse. And what if all the attention results in them losing their job? Oh, a racist person shouldn't be allowed to support their family? Should you be allowed to support your family if you also held ill will towards another person? Because that's what it is. I put racist remarks on the same level as any other hateful remark. It doesn't mean that it's right, but it's still a term that makes you feel bad, and words don't automatically mean violence. And I can bet that threatening, shaming, or even assaulting people doesn't actually fix their behavior. But let's imagine for a second that the Karen in this scenario wasn't racist, but the things that she said in the video, like giving a description to the police dispatch, was considered an act of racism because, as we all know, hate speech is extremely subjective. A presumably innocent person is now vilified because the public determined that her actions were racist. Similar to how our current society is obsessed with pulling the race card at the slightest disagreement. So now you have a situation of a not racist person being accused of racism in front of the entire world. They're vilified, fired from their job, and if they're really unlucky, maybe their children will get harassed in school because the other kids saw a video of their racist mommy on TV. And where do you think all of that resentment goes? I'd imagine a racist person would still do their best to make sure they're able to support their family, so I can only imagine the animosity that comes with falsely accusing someone of racism. Does the act of creating more problems in pursuit of exposing potential racists sound like a logical idea to you? And if you do happen to expose racists, what now? Did that actually fix anything? Number 3. These videos promote victimhood. As I said earlier, a lot of the times these Karen videos give us minimal information while the conclusions are very extreme. A lot of people simply lack the ability to think critically, which I summarize as the ability to consider the aftermath or consequences of a situation, as well as consider all the possibilities of what took place. A big problem that I see within Black America, and I mean this by no exaggeration, is the habit of pulling the race card out in situations where racism is nowhere to be found. We see this a lot with the current narrative that systemic racism or institutional racism is the root cause of poverty among Black America, when in actuality, we know that other things like resourcefulness, mindset, work ethic, the ability to overcome adversity are other determining factors. If everything can be blamed on something or someone else, then there really isn't an incentive for personal development. It's the same thing with these Karen videos. A 20-second out-of-context clip gets uploaded, someone perceives that incident as racist, and then that results in fear-mongering society into believing that racism is on the rise. And once you understand that, it's easier to see how some people throw the race card around because we've already set the expectation that anyone can conclude something's racist without understanding the importance of context and nuance. And lastly, at number 4, these videos contribute to social polarization. Imagine if the only takeaways after watching one of these videos is white woman and racist. Combine that with society selectively imposing the Karen label when a person is white, and it closely resembles to how the mainstream media reports similar stories depending on what color the suspect or victims are. By only showing you bad white people, it creates a very skewed perception of reality. And while some might consider this to be a good thing because it's payback for Black people being generalized, the difference is that this is encouraged and acceptable generalizing. A movie was made about entitled, racist white women in a time where society seems to be inching towards a race war. Does this honestly sound like something that the world needs right now? Can we honestly say that this movie won't make matters worse despite vilifying white women for these same acts committed by black women? And before you bore me with the claims that I just want to shield racist or tell white people the things that they want to hear, allow me to rebuttal. What's right and what's wrong doesn't change depending on your personal bias. You know this. And if generalizations perpetuate harmful stereotypes towards black people, then it's equally as harmful for white people. And if you've been led to believe otherwise, perhaps you should consider what is to gain by someone convincing you that bad behavior is okay depending on what you look like. Does that person truly have you in their best interests? Or is it possible that they know the slightest cry of racism will make certain people react? Something to think about. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content like this. Also, be sure to join me and other problematic thinkers on Locals for bonus content. My name is Gothix and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!